What is going on, everyone? Happy Monday. Welcome to the Facebook Marketing Strategies for Healthcare Experts Facebook group. If you are a healthcare expert and you're looking to figure out ways to gain more clients using online methods, and also whether that's an in-person private practice or an online business, then this group is for you. So every single Monday, at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we host classes like this. We host classes on your most pressing questions. We host classes on marketing, on sales, and general business growth. So if these are things that are of interest to you, and these are things that you're interested in learning more about so that you can grow your business, gain more clients, so you can increase your income, increase your impact, and also buy back your time so you can spend that time doing the things that you love to do with the people that you love most, then again, this is the group for you. So my name is Javier Carlin. I'm a physical therapist. This is Marissa Case. She's a registered dietitian. And tonight we have a Ask Us Anything session. So you guys are in luck because we're going to answer every single one of your questions when it comes to insurance versus cash.
Yeah, and as always, if you know any other healthcare professional who would benefit from the information in this group, feel free to invite them in. The more the merrier. We have a couple questions we're going to go over, but as you guys are popping in tonight, go ahead and drop your questions in the comments section. We got our phones right here. We got StreamYard going, so we will be able to see any questions and comments that are rolling in. So don't be shy, ask away, and yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So before we get going, first and foremost, we like to know who we're talking to. So say hi in the chat. Let us know. Say hello. I'm here. I can hear you. I can see you. Give us some likes. Give us some loves if you are ready to learn what the differences are, what the pros and cons are between insurance and cash. Now, these are questions that come up quite frequently. And, for some of you, you might be at that point where you're considering taking insurance. You might be at the point where you're considering going the cash route. So we would love to know, right, before we dive in, what are you currently offering? Or what are you currently leaning towards? And why? What are the reasons behind why you are deciding to lean in one direction over the other? Because these are important things to talk about, right? This is your business. This is your livelihood. This is how you're going to help people. And in making a decision when we're talking about insurance versus cash, right, it can be a big deal for so many reasons, for the people that you're serving, but also for yourself, your lifestyle, and the level of energy that you want to have, right? There's key differences here and they can have a major impact. So this is important. Okay, this is really important. So go ahead, put it in the chat. Are you cash? Are you insurance? Or which one are you leaning towards and why? Take a couple seconds, drop that in. So let's start with the first question. Okay, let's start with the first question. So, many people come to us and they say, hey, one of the reasons why I'm thinking about going the insurance route is because I feel like I can get busier faster, right? I can get more people into my practice. I'll get more referrals. I'll be able to have that referral source from physicians, right, and potentially from insurance companies where I can grow my business, and I don't have that fear of, will this fill up, right? Will I get clients? So that's one question that we hear quite often, right? So what tends to happen with those people in the insurance space?
Yeah, so typically most people find it very attractive when you say that you take insurance, right? Because that's what we know in healthcare. Like when we go to the doctor, right? When we go to any doctor, one of the first questions is like, do you take my insurance? And I'm guilty of asking that. I know you're guilty of asking that. And that's why people have health insurance, so that we can use it, right? So you, as a healthcare expert, a registered dietitian, physical therapist, occupational therapist, if you say, oh, I take insurance, that is definitely going to attract a lot of people to you, because a lot of people want to use their insurance. Now, there's a couple things that could happen here. So number one is you can have like a flood of people coming to you, because it's just like, hey, I take insurance, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, like perfect. and then they're going to go to you. And a couple things that can happen here. Number one, you think you can take on everyone and start helping everyone. And when you do that, sometimes it could be a little bit overwhelming because you may be getting clients who have a lot of different medical conditions or diseases or injuries. And it's going to be hard, or it may be hard to kind of keep up with all of them, right? Like if you're very niche down, like for example, if you only work with runners, let's say, you know that you're a dietitian and you only work with runners, like you have all your materials for your runners, you have your plan and your process of how you work with these runners. But then let's say that you start getting people with diabetes and cardiovascular disease, and what else do we got? We got chronic kidney disease, and we have metabolism issues, and people who are trying to recover from eating disorders. Then you become like this dietitian or healthcare professional that has to work with all of these things, and it could be a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to take on all these clients, right? Because they're coming to you, but at the same time, it could be a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, and there's also the point, right, that a lot of the people that are coming to you, yes, you might be getting more people sent your way, but are they the right people? Are they people that you want to work with? Are they people that want to actually go to physical therapy, want to actually get help with their nutrition, right? And the reason I say that is that typically when people are referred to us, right, it's not that they have made a personal decision, right, to get help. It's that someone else told them to, right? So there's a few different facets there. And what happens when someone's told what to do and they don't do something because they want to? Well, naturally, they're not as committed, right? And do people who aren't as committed get good results? No, of course not. So what ends up happening is that some of those people, right, that work with you, they cancel, they drop off, they no-show. And it's frustrating, isn't it? Right? When you know you can help someone, you know that the tools, the techniques that you have, that you've learned, the knowledge that you have can really change someone's life, but they don't take it seriously, right? They kind of just brush it off and say, hey, well, I got to get a haircut. That's more important to me. Or, hey, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that work because I value, watching Netflix more or being home more, right? And it can get a bit frustrating. Now, on the cash side of things, right? The drawbacks to cash with this specific question is that, it might take a little bit longer to get some people rolling in because you don't have insurance companies referring to you. It's not impossible to get physicians to refer to you, right? Because there are physicians out there who do offer membership models and are cash-based as well. But it can be a little bit more challenging, right? There's fewer physicians that are willing to refer out to non-insurance-based practices because, right, they're also of the mindset of insurance because that's what they know, right? So those are a couple things to think about. Now, with that said, right, there's again pros and cons to both. But that's one question that we hear often. So to summarize, right, on the insurance side, yes, you can get more people into your world, but are they the right people? Are they going to get good results? Are they actually committed? On the cash side, right, it's the opposite in that you have all those benefits of people that you want to work with, right? People that want to get results, that are willing to invest in their health. And because of that, they're more committed, they get better results, right? And at the same time, right, it really preserves your energy because you're working with people that you love to work with, right? The only downside is you're not going to get as many referrals potentially, right, from those typical referral sources, if that makes sense, right? You guys with me so far? Kathy says, cash for sure, the red tape and reimbursement of insurance that may friends who take insurance complain about has me leaning to cash. Yes. And that's a great point, Kathy. And then I think Jacob says cash, considering adding insurance, but doubt it. Yeah. Not to any spoilers about our opinions, but yeah, doubt it for sure. Yeah. So that's number one. Okay. That's the number one thing to think about. Again, we're going to give you some options here. We'll give you our personal opinion at the end. Ask questions as you go. And then, we'll give you what we think. But at the end of the day, this is a decision for you to make, right? Considering both options.
Yeah. So next question that we got is, can you really make a lot of money, or which one can you make more money in? Can you make more money taking insurance? Can you make more money taking cash pay? And the truth of the matter is, like we've said, there's pros and cons to both, but you can make the same amount of money doing both. Just depends how hard you want to work. So looking at the insurance side of things, typically with insurance, you get reimbursed a lower amount than you would charge if you were doing private pay, right? So with that being said, you're still making money in both, but let's say, for example, you have a monthly goal to hit $5,000. Well, with insurance, you don't really know how much you're going to get reimbursed. And we're kind of going to talk about this point in a second, but you don't really know how much you're going to get reimbursed, but it's definitely going to be less than if you were cash pay or private pay. So you have to take on more clients to hit the goal of $5,000 versus if you're cash pay, you know exactly, let's say, for example, every follow-up I do is $150. Cool. You could do the math and figure out how many follow-ups, how many initial assessments you need per month to hit your goal of $5,000. It's going to be a lot more predictable with the cash pay model because you're going to know exactly who's coming in, exactly who's paying what, and you're going to be able to do the math and hit that goal a lot faster with seeing less patients in the private pay, whereas with the insurance, you're going to need more patients to reach your goal.
Yeah. So again, two ideas here, insurance and cash, right? Insurance, you need many more patients, right? Because they're paying a lot less to reach your goal of, let's say, $10,000 a month, right? So things to consider. Well, do I want to see all those patients, right? Do I want to have to manage all these different people, right? With all these different injuries and all these different things going on, right? In this direction. And is that something that I want to do? Or I need to bring someone on to handle that while I work and focus more on the business side of things, right? So that's your insurance-based model. And you have, it's an option, but those are some things to think about, right? Quality of care, people getting the attention that they deserve, right? All these questions start to come up. Cash-based, right? Again, on the cash side, you have people that are paying higher services, right? What we recommend and what we teach is programs, right? Offer programs. That's the best way to get people who are committed, get better results. And right on your end, it allows you to know exactly what's coming in that month, like Marissa said. So again, you can see if your goal is 10,000 and you have a $2,000 program, which several of our clients do and do it successfully, right? Then literally you only need 5 people a month. 5 people a month, right? That means you get to spend as much time with them as you'd like, as much support as you like. You can really pay attention to them, to their goals, provide quality care, right? And again, because they've invested more, they're more committed, they get better results, they refer more people to you. So that's cash, right? That is a direction with cash. Now, the downside, right? Because we want to be fair here. The downside is you have to get great at having conversion conversations. You have to get really great at being able to turn someone, right, from a prospect, a lead, someone that is a stranger, to a happy paying client of yours. Now, is it possible? Absolutely. There's a skill, right? We call it the authentic sales system. And there's a skill to being able to do that, doing it effectively, where both parties leave extremely happy, right? So it's just a matter of like, hey, do I want to take the time to learn this skill and get better at it so I can serve people at a really high level? Or, is my money mindset, not quite there yet? And do I want to just see more people because I'm a little fearful of asking for money, right? So again, neither is good or bad, right? You just have to kind of pick your poison with that one, right? Do I want to get better? Do I want to improve my skill set? Do I want to challenge myself to grow? Or do I just want to see all the people because, I just want it to be easier? Okay. So a couple of different options there. And I see some great questions. We're going to get to the questions at the end. So as you're going through this, please ask away so we can make sure that we don't miss any of them. Okay. So that's point number 2. That's the second question that we hear quite often.
Yeah. So with the next question that we get asked is like, how do I do this? Like, if I'm going to take insurance, right? hire somebody to do it? Do I learn it on my own? How does this work, right? Well, when it comes to insurance, you could do both. You could, number one, learn it yourself, because there are many platforms out there. There's many resources, people that teach insurance-based models, if that's something that you really want to do. And you can definitely learn how to do it on your own and be successful at it. The other option that you can do is, if you have a lot of cash flowing in from your business and you kind of want to separate yourself and start delegating roles, well, you can always hire a biller. But again, you definitely need money coming in from your business to be able to pay your biller to do their job. So it's really up to you, and kind of, do you value your time? Do you value money more? Kind of which direction you want to go in if you choose to take insurance. Now, with the cash pay, the reason that we like cash is because you don't have to deal with that. We don't have to learn how to bill, because that can be very time consuming and really overwhelming, and complicated and confusing. And that's just personally for me, how I feel. I never took insurance as a dietitian. That's just me, but I know dietitians who have been very successful with the insurance model. So it just comes down to personal preference, right? I personally didn't want to deal with the paperwork and figure out how to submit the claims and hire a biller and all that stuff. I just wanted to be able to take payments easily on the spot. And what I really liked about taking payments on the spot was that I got that extra commitment from my clients. Got a little deposit, they put a little bit of skin in the game, and that made them want to come back for their next visit, their initial assessment, follow-up number 1, right? So that's why I really liked it, because it gave them a little bit of skin in the game, and they were like, okay, I'm committing to this. Even if it's a little bit, I'm putting some money down and I'm going to do this. Versus they weren't waiting on their insurance company to say if I would take their insurance or not, and then they would decide if they wanted to work with me.
Yeah, 100%. So again, just to recap with that one, right? It's a matter of time and money. So, submitting claims, doing all of that, getting paid, right, can be a major hassle, right? And it's a little bit frustrating. It takes up a lot of time. So a solution to it taking up your time is to hire a biller, like Marissa was saying. So that takes money. Right now, with that time, with that money, right, could you potentially invest that money, invest that time to learn a skill, right? To learn a skill, to have conversations, right? To get people to enroll in your services at higher ticket. Now, I'm starting to show my bias here, but, right, just think about that. Do you really love paperwork, right? Do you really love documenting? And you still have to document with cash. I get it, right? But is it as much as it's not, right? It really isn't. And one of the biggest points that Marissa just mentioned is the ability to get that commitment up front, to get someone to pay, right? Whether it's the full amount, which definitely happens, right? Or a larger deposit, right? We know that they're committed. They want this. They know that they're committed. They want it. And again, right, it gives us a peace of mind, like, cool, I know this person is going to show up, much more likely to show up, right? Than someone who puts $10 here, $20 there. And it's like, hey, I'll just schedule session by session, right? That's kind of scary. So a couple things to think about with that. And Jacob, great question on that. You know what? Let's go ahead and answer that now, because I think it's a quick answer. And I think, so the question Jacob has, which is a great question. And I see Stephanie on. Hey, Stephanie. I see Janet. Hey, Janet. Great conversation we had yesterday over the phone. Arlene. Hey, Arlene. How's it going? So do you have any thoughts on being cash paid but using insurance as a pseudo discount to entice potential clients? Do people paying cash, and I charge relatively a lot, cool, even care about that? Honestly, I'm not 100% sure what you mean by pseudo discount. I would say that one thing that can work when you're doing cash, right, is offering care credit. Right. So that is a possibility, because it's not that we're saying, hey, do insurance or here's out of network instead, because that can get really complicated. And Marissa and I like to keep things simple, right? Simplicity scales, complexity fails. So you want to keep things simple. So with that, right, I'm not sure if you've heard of Care Credit, but it's essentially a credit card that they would get for their own health. And if you think about it, right, all these businesses have credit cards, right? Apple, Best Buy, Macy's, Target, they all have credit cards now, and people use them, and people spend a lot of money with these companies, right? So if that's something that helps people, right, to take care of their health, then why not? And there is a small fee for that, but that is an opportunity for someone to say, hey, yes, I want to do this, and I'm going to put it on a credit card, right? So that's something that you can think about, Jacob. If you want to describe more what like a pseudo discount means to you, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'd love to learn more about what that means. But to answer your question, I don't think enticing anyone with insurance, especially if you're cash-based, is a great idea, because then they'll have that in their mind, and you don't want that, right? Yeah, you got it, man. For sure. Absolutely. Awesome. So next question. All right. Insurance, right? What happens when insurance denies your claims, right? What happens when they deny your claims? Pain in the ass, right? Super pain, right? You missed a letter, you missed a number, you missed this, you missed that, right? What happens? Well, you don't get paid. And what's happened to me in the past, right, is that technically, legally, you're not allowed to see the patient, right? You're not allowed to see them until they get a progress note, until the claim goes through, because you don't know if you're going to get paid for those visits. And then it just becomes a complete mess, right? So again, something to think about. It's the claims, it's the billing, it's the insurance being that middleman, right, in dictating what happens to you and your business. And for a lot of you, you got into business because you like control, right? And insurance doesn't give you that a lot of the times. I'd say 100% of the time, yeah. Right? And they don't know what's going on with you. They don't know what's going on with the patient. They're making decisions on what's better for them and their pocketbook, right? Their business, right? They have their own best interest. So you want to consider that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the other hand, when it comes to cash, right, you and your client both know exactly how much money is going to be exchanged per visit, right? You know how much the client is giving you per visit, therefore you know exactly how much you're making. And one of the biggest things that we see is our clients sell packages that range anywhere from $1,500 to $8,000. And people are like, wow, that's a lot of money. It's okay, because you are the boss in your business, and you can customize payment plans to suit your patient's needs. You can customize plans, right? You can have plans ranging from different price points, and you can make adjustments as needed. So that's the beautiful thing, is that you don't have an insurance company telling you exactly how much you make, right? Or how much the patient needs to pay. You decide.
Right. Essentially, insurance is your boss, right? Telling you how much you're worth, how much you're going to get paid, and when you get paid. And again, if you're going into business for yourself, sounds like that's not why you wanted to go into business, right? To have someone, again, telling you all those things, okay? So the next question we hear often, right, is, with insurance, how do you make sure that people are being taken care of, right? Like, is there a way to ensure that the people that I'm working with get the care that they need, right? And that's a tough question, because sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. And that depends on, what insurance they have, what their past history has been, have they gone to see someone else, right? All these factors start to come into play that don't relate anything to the person's actual health, to their health care, right? And, typically what you'll have to do is based on what the physician recommends and the progress notes that you have to continue to send, and based off of what the insurance allows in terms of number of visits, total per year, etc. They dictate how many sessions the clients get, your clients get, your patients. So if someone needs 12 to get better, right, and they're only giving them 6, that's an issue. It's a challenge. And now the thing that, kind of compounds on that is that at that point, the person used to paying $10, right? $20 a copay, maybe 50, and now your cash pay rate, your private pay rate is 150. That's a big jump. So what a lot of people end up doing is they start to lower and devalue their sessions, and now their private pay becomes 50, right? So is that a good position to be in because of what the insurance company dictates, right? Again, not telling you what to do here, but you want to think about, am I okay with them telling me how long for how many visits, right? What time frames can I see my patients? And if I am okay with that, cool, totally fine. You're good, right? If you're not, then again, something to consider there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then, just to add on to that from the cash based side, right? You, again, dictate everything. You customize a plan suitable to your client's needs. If they need, 12 visits, you can give them those 12 visits, right? If they need 4, you can give them 4. You decide, and you are the boss. And again, you don't have this third party kind of just in the background dictating, how you are treating the patient, for how long, time frame, things like that. You are the healthcare expert. So just something to think about. So yeah. Okay. So next question we got is in terms of like, when will I get paid from insurance? Like, how often do I get paid? Is it predictable? Things like that. So 2 sides here, as always, right? So with the insurance, if you do everything right, you submit the claim perfectly, you don't miss a letter, a number, it's perfect, right? You will get paid, right? But you will get paid later down the line. We talked to some people and they're just like, oh, like I got, these claims and they're from 4 months ago, and I have to go back in my finances and kind of figure out who this came from and when this came from, and if it was like their 3rd visit that I got paid for, or their 4th, or like, it's complicated, but you're going to get paid. So don't worry. But you have to keep really good track of the visits and things like that, so that when the check comes in, who it's for, what you got paid for. It's a lot more on your end to keep track of, but you will get paid. Also, when that check comes in, everyone that takes insurance, they open the check and they're surprised at the number, because they don't know how much money they're getting. They knew they got a check, but they don't know how much. So you will get paid, but you don't know when, and you don't know how much. So up to you if you want to take that risk with the cash back.
I have a question for you though, and then Stephanie has a great question that we could dive into next, and then we have one more question that we sourced from you guys. But if you had a boss, right? If you had a boss and they said, hey, I'm gonna pay you, I promise. It might be in a month, right? And it might be $1,000, it might be $5,000. I'm not sure yet, right? And depending on the work that you did a few months ago, I'm going to have to look and see, if you actually put in your best or not, based on the results that we got, right? So do you want to take that job? Does that sound like a good, like, you want in, like you're hired? Is that cool with you? Right? Yes or no? Go ahead and put it in the chat. If a boss came up to you and said, hey, is it okay if I pay you in the range of 1,000 to 5,000? You'll never know what it is. It might be a month from now, it might be 2 weeks from now, maybe, right? And it also depends on your performance from a few months ago. And if you miss something, right? If you forgot to clock in, if you forgot that, then I don't know. We'll see. Nah, right? Nope. Heck no.
Nope.
Exactly, right? Exactly. And so many people, right? And again, it's okay, right? There's other reasons why people might do it. But if you would say no to a boss like that, well, that's basically what the insurance company is telling you. It's crazy. It's ridiculous, right? It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So on the cash based side, right? On the cash based side, you dictate what you get paid, right? You dictate your worth. You dictate, what your programs and services are valued at. And because you know that, and you decide when you want to increase those rates, right? What kind of payment plans you want, right? You make the decisions in your own business, right? You know exactly, like Marissa was saying earlier, you know how many clients you need a month, at what packages, what price points, right? To be able to hit your goals. So with that, you can reverse engineer exactly what the activities you have to do on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis are, how many people you have to talk to based on your conversion numbers, right? In both conversations and enrollment sessions, initial evals, assessments, right? A few words that you might hear, okay? But you know exactly what has to happen to get there. So meaning that, right, for those of you that like predictability and consistency, right, your monthly finances are more predictable. It sounds crazy, but they are actually more predictable with cash based.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because they're more predictable, you can make better financial decisions for you, your family, and your business because you know exactly what is coming in.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, okay, it's predictable that I could pay my bills this month. It's predictable that, I can save up for a vacation. No, it's making long-term financial decisions for you, your family, your business growth, your mindset, taking it a step further of why having that predictable income is so important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then let's go ahead and take Stephanie's question because it's a great one. And then we may or may not get to this last one. Maybe we'll skip on that one for now. So Stephanie has a great question. How do you target an elderly population that are under Medicare when cash-based? Wellness, fall prevention, personal training. That's a great question, Stephanie. And what we have found, right, if there's a couple thoughts to this, right? If you are cash-based and you do have a really, strong passion to work with the elderly population, it might not be a bad idea, right, to enroll with Medicare. Again, similar challenges. They typically pay better and are better about paying. There are, some frustrations and things that can come up for sure. But, with Medicare, it's a good direction to go in because people are used to, a lot of people have waited their entire lives, right? I've waited 65 years to be able to use my insurance, to be able to use my Medicare, right? I'm retired. Like I deserve this, right? So for a lot of them, it's one of those things where, yeah, you might, it might be way easier to do that if you want to work with the elderly. Now, to your point, right? Yes, you could call it wellness. You could call it fall prevention, personal training, right? All these things that other people do that are not physical therapists or licensed healthcare professionals can do, you can do too. Not under the distinction of the label of what you are, right? Definitely possible. Now, with that said, there are some states, right, where they've added those terms in there. So you'll have to figure that out specifically state by state, talk to an attorney just to make sure, right? But it is definitely possible to do that because if you think about it, right, at the gym, do you see elderly there? Do they hire personal trainers? Absolutely. Absolutely. So could you offer maintenance programs for them? Fitness, exercise, right? Nutrition services for ongoing, solutions to their problems. 100%. You could definitely do that. And you do really well, right? And there's a niche, there's a target population out there, I promise you, in the geriatric population that is more than happy to pay for those more valuable services, right? Those, I guess, higher end services, if you want to call them that. So hopefully that answers your question, Stephanie. Yes, you can. Again, look at your specific state to see what those are. Another idea, right, is health coaching, for example, health and wellness coaching, a very viable option, right? Not a ton, like barely, like almost no restrictions on what you can do And we had an attorney in our program come in and talk about that, right? And she broke down exactly what that needs to look like for it to be legal, right? Even as a physical therapist, even as a licensed healthcare professional, right? There are ways around it that can keep you safe and allow you to help people in the best way that you know how, right? All under the rules. Okay. So yeah, just a couple of things to think about there, Stephanie. Yeah. Awesome. Did you want to touch on that last one or?
No, we're good.
Okay. Okay, cool. So with that, we're going to stay around for a couple more minutes. So go ahead, drop any of your questions. If you don't have any questions, I'd love to hear your takeaways. Like based on our conversation today, what are you leaning more towards? Did you make a decision? Right? What are your thoughts? So questions or takeaways, drop them down in the chat. We would love to know. And with that, as you're dropping those down, as you know, we help people gain clients and grow their business, right? Using online marketing methods that work for both types of businesses, right? If you are one who wants to transition to online group programs, that is something that we can help you with. Okay. So if that's something that you are interested in learning more about, if you are asking yourself, like, how do I make this work? How do I grow a business, right, where I can make more income, have more impact, and also build it around my lifestyle where I feel good? My family feels good because I feel good, right? I'm working less hours. I'm able to have that flexibility, have that freedom of time, and use that time doing the things that I love to do with the people that I love, right? If you've asked yourself those questions, we can definitely help you in getting clarity and direction in where, number one, you want to go, right? Where you're at now, and what would be the step-by-step plan for you specifically to get there. And what we do is every single week, we offer free 15-minute business game plan calls to give you clarity and direction. There's nothing to buy on that call, right? It's simply us to point you in the right direction, give you some resources. If we feel that, hey, we might actually be able to help you with this, we'll tell you. And if it makes sense for both of us, we'll get on a deep dive call. If it doesn't, totally fine. So if that's something that you're interested in, just go ahead and comment the word game plan. Comment the word game plan in the chat down below. And we're going to go ahead and send you some details, ask you a few questions, get a call scheduled, right? 15 minutes. We'll have a nice conversation about you and your business and come up with a game plan, a solution, a possible solution to getting you to that next level. So if that's something you want, type the word game plan in the chat. We'll reach out to you and it'll be great. So with that, if you have no other questions for us, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Again, every single Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, we are here answering all your questions, providing value, dropping bombs, knowledge bombs left and right. And if you want to learn how to do these things, right, this is the place to be. I think a little bit better than Netflix. So yeah, thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you soon.